Hello and welcome. My name is Mary Dew, and I am a teacher of yoga and shamanism, a circle facilitator, and a sound healer. My sound healings I call the Chakra Sound Journey. And today I'm here to talk to you about the healing power of sound. First, a little bit of background, a little bit about me. So I have been surrounded by music really all my life. I was born into a family with a dad who is a career radio man. He was a DJ from when he was a teenager, went on to be the general manager of several big radio stations around the country, and at 80 years old, he is still on the air on a regular show, DJing on the radio station in the Villages in Florida. So shout out to my dad, John Dew. Thank you for bringing me into this crazy world of music. I wouldn't have it any other way. So my background, growing up, took some piano lessons. Seems like a lot of piano lessons, but I couldn't sit down and just whip anything out on the piano for you now. I didn't really stick with it, but I studied piano, I played the clarinet when I was in school, and studied music theory even into my first year of college. So I do have a background in music, but I was never the musician myself. Beginning in high school and then college, I started managing bands, and then I became a booking agent, and then I went to work for a record label. And so I spent a 30-year career right out of high school, in college, in the music business. I have done all different types of jobs in the music business. I was a record rep, a radio promotion and marketing rep for years for different record labels, big and small. And then I went off on my own and started my own record label. My ex-husband is a producer, and so we co-owned and managed a recording studio for a while in Toronto, and then started our own record label and went into artist management and production. So I have been the executive producer on more than a handful of albums, but I've always kind of been behind the scenes. So fast forward to about 7 years ago, I decided to make a change, and the music business was changing at a very rapid rate. It just felt like it was time for me to do something new, and my spirit and my soul seemed to be calling me in the direction of spirituality and yoga. So that's when I began about 7 years ago. I've done 3 different yoga teacher trainings. 2 200 hours, one in Vinyasa Yoga and one in Kundalini Yoga, and then also a training in Shakti Nam Yoga and breath work. So I have that I bring to the circles and to the sound journeys. I've also been studying shamanism over those years. I have studied primarily with the Power Path School of Shamanism in Santa Fe and the Stevens family. And I have completed their 1-year program as well as basic practitioners, shamanic practitioners training. And so I have that in my toolkit. And it's only recently about a year ago, that I began doing sound healing work and feeling called to that. All of a sudden, it just clicked for me that the yoga, the shamanism, and the music all tied together when it comes to the idea of sound healing and sound journeys. And I decided to give it a try. I started with my gong, which I'll show you when I show you. I'll show you my whole sound healing rig in just a moment, but I started with my gong, and it all kind of went from there. And the one thing I will say is that anyone is capable of doing this. Anyone can express themselves via music and sound. The healing power of sound is accessible to all of us. We can all sing, we can all dance. The key component of any of these things and being good at these things is that you come from the heart. That's the main thing. So whether you're playing the crystal singing bowls and singing to your chakras, or whether you're chanting or maybe singing an Ikaro in a ceremony, if you're coming from the heart, vibrating that bhakti, that devotion, then you're doing it right. You know, singing is one of the great healers. Music is one of the great healers of all time. And indigenous cultures have been singing and incorporating music into their ceremonies and healings for literally tens of thousands of years. As long as they've been around, these cultures have been bringing in music. So I think it's wonderful that you're seeing a rise in these sound healings, and that people are really connecting with the power of vibration and the power of the sound current, both in clearing, in healing, and in manifestation. So that's kind of a little bit of background of how I came into this, and let me show you the rig that I've put together since then. This is my sound healing rig. I travel and teach regularly, although I'm currently grounded, as we all are, I believe, due to the quarantine. But when I get back out on the road, what you see here is my traveling rig. I have 7 crystal singing bowls, and these are tuned to the 7 chakras. Let me just share a little bit about that for those who might not be familiar with the chakras. The chakra system is a system, an energy system within our body. Chakra means wheel, and so the chakras, the 7 chakras, are basically spinning wheels of energy in our body. And they can be either spinning in alignment or spinning out of balance. So what we do with these sound healings, and what I focus my Chakra Sound Journeys on, is the idea of bringing the chakras into balance, getting them spinning in a healthy way, and aligning them. So the 7 chakras go from our root to the crown of our head, and I'll walk you through those as we go. They correlate to these 7 crystal singing bowls. So the first one, this one here, this is the bear. The bear is a C note and correlates to the root chakra, which is represented as red. So this one is actually the color of the chakra. And the root chakra is all about balance, all about grounding, all about foundation, stability, security. So when we are feeling secure, when we are feeling trust, that's when we have a balanced root chakra. And so this one here, the bear, tuned to a C, this one calls out to the root chakra. Let's take a listen. Your root chakra. And when I connect with the root chakra, and in my sound journeys, sound healings, I also like to bring in the 4 elements. And so with the root chakra, it correlates with the element of earth. And for the earth element, I also like to bring in my frame drum, because this is a very grounding tool as well. And this one is also a bear. And so sometimes at the beginning of a sound journey, when everyone lays down, we'll ground with the drum. Sounds like this could use a little tune-up, but you get the idea. Very grounding. So the earth element, the root chakra. The second chakra is the sacral chakra, 2nd chakra. And this one is generally located in the pelvic region. It is our identity, it's our creativity, and our sexuality. It correlates with the water element. And for that one, this bowl here, Johnny Ray, black obsidian infused, and the black obsidian is also very grounding, which the first or the second chakra, it helps connect with that. But this is a D note, and this calls out to the sacral chakra. Like to add to my sound journeys with the element of water in mind. This is an ocean drum. I don't know if you've seen one of these before, but this is an ocean drum. It's a remote drum, a frame drum basically, with clear plastic over the top, and there are some little like silver metal beads in there. And listen, close your eyes. Ocean drum, and it's nice to bring some ocean waves and some water energy into the healing when I work with the second chakra along with the Johnny Ray bowl. Moving right along, coming up to the third chakra, which is the navel chakra, and it is represented by the color yellow. This one's usually orange, by the way, but this is, like I said, black obsidian infused, so it's black. The yellow is the navel chakra, the third chakra. So this plays an E note, and it connects with the fire in your belly, the element of fire with the belly. This is the seat of our strength, our courage. It's also our instinctive center. Sometimes I'll also use breath work with the fire element and do a breath of fire where you pump the navel, so it connects the navel, the fire in the belly, the third chakra, brings it into balance, brings your strength, brings your courage, and brings out your confidence. So the fourth chakra is the heart, and that plays an F note, and this is Anahata Leslie. The F note. The fourth chakra is sometimes represented by green, but can also be pink. This is actually morganite infused, if you're familiar with morganite, which is a gemstone, beautiful gem, beautiful crystal. That speaks to the heart. You can also find rose quartz or kunzite infused bowls, but mine is infused with morganite. So this one goes straight to the heart. The heart is all about, the fourth chakra is all about love and compassion, as you might imagine. And when it's in balance, that love and compassion take the place of fear, clear out fear. So then the fifth chakra is over here, represented by the blue bowl, the color blue, and it is the throat chakra. It's a G note, And the throat is about projection, truth, integration, communication. So this one speaks to the throat chakra. From there, the throat chakra, we go to the third eye, and the third eye correlates with the A note. This is Mimi, with an A note, speaking to the third eye. The third eye is the seat of our intuition. Here between our brows. And the final chakra, the seventh chakra, is the crown chakra. This one is jewels. And this one connects you with spirit. It's the reconnection, the remembering, the inspiration. This one takes us to the higher realms. So the lower three chakras, first, second, third, the root, the sacral, and the navel, are known as the lower triangle. The fourth chakra is the heart in the center. It's the balance between the lower chakras and the upper chakras, between the lower triangle and the upper triangle, which is the throat, the third eye, and the crown. The physical realm with the lower triangle, the spiritual realm with the higher triangle. So that gives you an idea of all of the crystal singing bowls. So I usually use these in the ceremony. I think the one thing maybe I didn't say is that the fourth chakra, the heart, is the element of air. So you've got the earth with the first chakra, the water with the second chakra, the fire with the third, the fourth is air. When you think of an open heart, open and spacious and airy. And then the upper chakras, there's just those four elements in the lower. So we bring all that into the sound journey. I have a rattle handy as well. I use this at the beginning to usually open the ceremony, call in the directions. I have an altar here. I usually have an altar representing the four directions and the four elements. And so I'll have a rattle on hand for that. And other than that, there are a couple of other random things that I use depending on what speaks to me that day. I have this from Nepal. This is a brass singing bowl, a Tibetan singing bowl. Much more subtle, but a powerful vibration. And the Tibetan bowls, these metal bowls, are lovely for actually holding them over people as you walk around during a sound journey. They can actually feel the vibration. You can feel it at your third eye, you can feel it at your heart, and you can run these bowls over to bring the chakras into balance. And then, as I said, I would show you, I hope you can see okay, but this is my gong. And this gong, her name is Christelle, and she's a 22-inch wind gong. And I love to play the gong during the sound healing. Have some lights on here. They're kind of hitting the gongs, so I gotta move those away. And there are some wonderful tutorials for learning how to play the gong. There are definitely different strokes, different methods that you can learn for playing the gong. And I would recommend beginning with a gentleman named Mike Tamburo, Tamburo. He is Crown of Eternity. is what he goes by, and he has the most amazing gong setup I've ever seen. And he tours and does these beautiful, really big sound healings with walls of gongs, and he also does gong trainings, and I have done a couple trainings with him. Highly recommend him if you're new to the gong, for learning how to play the gong. So it's nice to have a gong in your arsenal as well. And other than that, I've just got some Tibetan bells. These are nice for waking people up from Shavasana at the end. I also have this thing that I love. I do not know what it's called, but it's a metal pipe. This is also a nice one to take out when you walk around among people, because a lot of the metal instruments vibrate really nicely and they can be run over the body. Careful not to drop them or get them too close to the body. And you always want to, if you're going to go bring an instrument over someone, over their body, be sure you talk to them in advance and make sure that that's something that they're comfortable with. Because the thing that I will say about these instruments is that these are very powerful tools. So you want to treat them with a great deal of respect. You want to be careful with the vibrations so that you don't get too intense. You don't want to walk up and hit the gong right in the center. You know, you want to have some familiarity. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions and you're putting a rig together, you need a hand with that, you want a little bit of coaching to get you started. I'm open to that kind of thing. You just want to make sure that as you begin doing this sound healing work that you're treating your instruments and in turn your clients and or the people who come, you know, could be family, could be friends even. You want to give them the best possible experience and not overdo it with the vibration, because these can be some intense vibrations and it is possible to overdo it. So think about that. The only other thing that I'll show you that I just love is this. These are koshi chimes. And I love these for the end. These are also really nice to walk around and play these over the top of people. You know, again, be real careful. You don't want to drop this on anybody. But it sounds really nice over the third eye when people are coming out of the sound journey at the end. And this can be a lovely thing to have with your sound healing instruments as well. So that's the basics. The only other instrument that I always bring along is my voice. And that's a funny one, because growing up, like I said, I grew up around music, but I was never a singer myself. In fact, I felt and fancied myself not a very good singer at all. But when I came into this practice of yoga, I've actually been practicing Kundalini yoga for over 20 years. Is teaching for the last 5. But I came into Kundalini yoga about 20 plus years ago because I fell in love with the mantras. And so in Kundalini yoga, and in a lot of different types of yoga, and in India, you know, chanting is a really big thing. Chanting is a big thing in all types of cultures. Indigenous cultures goes right along with singing. With chanting, the idea that I love about the mantras is that the mantras are a word, a syllable, or a phrase that is repeated over and over again. And in repeating it over and over again, each mantra basically has a result. It gets a result when you work with these mantras. Let me give an example. So there are mantras for inner peace. There are mantras for world peace. There are mantras for prosperity. And the different mantras, different meditations that you do, when you chant these mantras, you get those effects. And basically what you're doing is you're tapping into divine flow. You're tapping into the sound current, and that's how you're creating the manifestation. So that's something that I'm very much into as well, is chanting mantra. I also love the Icaros and ceremony, but I personally don't speak Spanish, although I'm learning, and so that doesn't come to me as easily. But with the mantras, it just clicked for me. And so I was inspired a couple of years ago to start work on a mantra album of my own. And all those years that I lived and worked in the studio with a producer as a partner, I guess I picked up a few things, because I ended up going into GarageBand, creating my own tracks, and then chanting my mantras. I got set up with a rig here with a microphone, and it took me a couple years to put together, but I've just released my debut album. It's Mantras for Beginners. If I can chant, anyone can chant, and it's called Mantra for the Masses. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, and it's just by me, Mary Dew, M-A-R-I-D-E-W. MARIDEW.com is my website. Mary Dew Yoga, MARIDEWYOGA, is my Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. So that's where you can find me if you have more questions. If you want to check out the mantras, please do so. It's just wonderful. The mantras will take you into basically a trance-like state. By repeating the same mantra over and over again, you're quieting the mind. You're quieting that mind chatter, which is, basically what yoga is here to do. These mantras, these meditations that we do with the chanting can do that as well, and take you into this trance-like state where you're able to plant seeds, plant intentions, and create these manifestations on the sound current. So that's my introduction to the healing power of sound. I hope that you've gotten something that resonates with you out of this experience. And like I said, I think I put it out there on my contacts. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any further questions, or you want to go a little deeper into the healing power of sound. Thank you so much. Sat Nam, I am truth. Aho, and Namaste.